Hello viewers, you are watching our weekly program Invest in Ethiopia on OBN Horn of Africa. In this edition, we'll be talking about the Green Legacy initiative Ethiopia is undertaking over the past 8 years. To discuss this matter, I joined by Dr. Adafris Worku, Chairman of the National Green Legacy Initiative Technical Committee. Till the end of our program, stay connected. Doctor, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, let me begin with this question. Why the issue of conservation and environmental protection is becoming the concern of the global community?
Yeah, we can list several reasons. In fact, one of the major factor is the changing climate or global warming, which is also very much in association with how you manage the natural resource or the resource on the planetary Earth system. As we have been, studying, listening, and reporting, the temperature has been changing very significantly across the globe because of the very significant emission from all sectors across the world, particularly because of the economic development paths the developed countries followed over the last 100 years. Even if you come to Ethiopia, though Ethiopia is not the contributor or to the global warming, our temperature has been said increased by not less than 1 degree centigrade over the last 3, 4, or 5 decades, I may say. An increase of 1 degree centigrade temperature means a lot, particularly for developing countries like Ethiopia, who depend on land-based economic development. For instance, where we have millions of smallholder farmers and also tens of thousands of millions of pastoral communities who have been depending on the management of natural resource. So not only the temperature has been increasing over the last many decades, but also this has been undermining when the rains come and when it goes. This year, for instance, we have been observing a very massive impact of El Nino, which is also very much associated to this process of the global weather or climate system. And so I may say that climate change is one of the factors that push the global community to think once again and invest the resource to manage their natural resources.
So, how do you see the significance of the Green Legacy initiative Ethiopia is undertaking over the past 8 years in mitigating the problems you have raised now?
Yeah, if we consider, for instance, the Paris Agreement and also other very much relevant platforms taking place globally, they demand the nations or the countries who are, the members of UN to plan, implement, and report interventions that will contribute to the mitigation and adaptation of climate change. So that Ethiopia has also submitted its nationally determined contribution, which very much emphasize the importance of designing and implementing large scale and integrated nature-based solution, which on one hand restore the degraded landscape while also conserving the existing natural resources, including forests, water, soil, and so forth, including the wilderness and also the wildlife thereof. So, while we have been communicating to the global community our ambition to contribute to the mitigation and adaptation of climate change, then we not only Ethiopia has designed those very beautiful and very much ambitious documents, but through the Green Legacy Initiative, which have been implemented since 2019, Ethiopia has been trying to implement those strategies and the policies on the ground. Green Legacy Initiative, which have been, initiated 8 years back as one of the most ambitious and globally, exemplified nature-based solution and a means of combating climate change, deforestation, biodiversity loss, and also desertification is an initiative of the nation which aims to plant more than 50 billions of seedlings of different species. Part of them are forest, part of them are food, part of them are fodder species, and also all of them in one way or the other contribute to the restoration of the lost ecosystem services such as soil fertility, sustainable management of water resources, so on and so forth, but also in a way to contribute, to reduce emission from our land, be it agricultural landscape or forest landscape or urban landscape, and also contribute to the sequestration or the removal of the already released or emitted greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. So the Green Legacy Initiative of Ethiopia is a mechanism for us through which Ethiopia will fulfill those very large pledges that we promised to the global community.
Thank you. Let us talk about this year's one day campaign. Ethiopia has set a new record as usual by planting more than 800 million tree seedlings within a single day. How do you see this move and what message it has for the rest of the world?
Yeah, I know one of the most important result or future or phenomenon of the Green Legacy Initiative is this one-day tree planting campaign. This has never been, considered as an important mechanism in many countries and also in Ethiopia previously. But since we started the Green Legacy Initiative, we have also, associated or integrated different types of intervention to ensure this very ambitious plan or nature-based, solution. Because as you know, the Green Legacy Initiative has been planning to plant billions of seedling, which never been, tried both in Ethiopia and also globally, so that we introduced this one-day tree planting campaign to mobilize as many peoples as possible and to plant, as many seedlings as possible, so that we will achieve, the seasonal targets of each year. Because in Ethiopia the rainy season is not very much extended. We have not more than 2 months, 3 months of rainy season in most part of the country, so that the planting of those billion seedlings, for instance, this year we planned to plant 8 billion seedlings. So this demand, the introduction of different mechanisms to ensure that all those prepared seedlings will be planted. So 8 years ago, when we introduced the Green Legacy Initiative, that year our plan was to plant 4 billion seedlings. And that 4 billion seedling in 1 year is, a very, very challenging and ambitious target for our country, for ourselves. And that figure was never tried and never thought of before that globally, even among those countries who have the institutions, who have the financial mechanisms, and who have the capacity to try it. But it is Ethiopia who have been, tried these very ambitious seedlings. And during that year, we said that, okay, we organize a one-day tree planting campaign, and the plan was 200 million. And you can imagine what does it mean to planting of 200 million seedlings in one day. This is already the target of some of the countries, for the whole year, not for one day. And then that same year, we achieved planting of more than 253, 54 million seedlings. And that has really given us the courage to expand and continue with this initiative. And these years, one day tree planting campaign is the fifth for Ethiopia. Last year, you remember that we planned to plant 700 million seedlings and we achieved more than that. And for this year, we even a little bit escalated the target to be 800 million seedlings because the annual target has also been increasing annually. And it was very much amazing that our communities, despite all the challenge, including the El Nino challenge, we are able to mobilize our regions, our experts, our national and regional administrations are able to mobilize more than 26 million peoples who are able to plant more than 800 million seedlings in one day. This is not only a record for Ethiopia, it is also a lesson for the global community that if the government has given itself and taken this climate intervention as a very serious agenda, that a nation can achieve this massive goal, so that if many other countries join what Ethiopia has been doing, that our contribution to mitigate the impact of climate change and to enhance the adaptive capacity of different countries, particularly the developing countries, is going to be very much possible. So it's not only that we planted these 800 million seedlings in one day, but also we have taken a lot of lesson for ourselves, and encouraged that we can do more in the coming years. But also we have shared a lesson, a very good lesson, a very feasible and implementable lesson for other countries, that they can plan ambitiously to contribute to the impact of climate change.
Well, how do you describe the role of or the contribution of regional states and other stakeholders in succeeding this initiative?
By the way, despite the Green Legacy Initiative is the national initiative and it is the initiative of the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, but this initiative, particularly when we are now on its 8th years, has been fully overtaken by the regional government, not only by regional government, but also by our communities, the smallholder farmers and the pastoral communities. Imagine 8 years ago when His Excellency the Prime Minister introduced the Green Legacy Initiative as a solution for sustainable development, as a means to combat the impact of climate change, as a means to accelerate economic development in Ethiopia. uh, there were, many questions and doubts by different stakeholders, including by some of the regional governments, asking that can we do this because this was never tried before? Do we have a resource for this? Do we have a human resource, a financial resource, an institutional capacity to do this? But the direction given there was let we try and we can do it by mobilizing our peoples. And but now if we will look at it, the contribution of regions after 8 years, it is the national government, for instance, the Green Legacy Technical Committee, who advise the regions to a little bit minimize their annual target. Otherwise, the regional plan is even more than this. For this year, for instance, the target or the plan the region submitted to the federal institution coordinating this Green Legacy Initiative is close to 1 billion seedlings. Like I mean, like even for one day, they planned to plant very close to 1 billion seedlings. It is we, the federal institution, including the Prime Minister office, who have been now saying that okay, let we a little bit reduce our contribution. In fact, you see the difference between regions and the regional leadership in terms of taking this initiative as serious as it need and as serious as it be. Otherwise, all the regions, from Dredawa city administration to a region who have been, planning a very, the lion's share of the annual contribution, for instance, Oromia, Amara, and also other regions, including the Benishangul Kumus, Central Ethiopia, South Ethiopia, Southwestern Ethiopia, Somali. I may say, all the regions have now taken the Green Legacy Initiative as their major development agenda and development means to conserve their forests, to increase their forest cover, to create green jobs, to protect their soil, and to enhance their agricultural productivity, water and energy productivity. Despite the challenge varies between regions, despite the capacities, the institutional capacity, the leadership capacity varies between regions. But now I may say that the Green Legacy Initiative has been all installed and institutionalized in the different institutions of the regions. The diplomatic stakeholders here in Addis Ababa joined our foreign minister, His Excellency Dr. Gedeon, went out to Bishoftu and put their legacy on the soils. I mean, any institution you call up for the Green Legacy Initiative, everybody was saying this is a very fantastic, a timely initiative whose contribution is not only local and regional, but also a global, so that we support. So, I mean, I may say all the stakeholders in this country, from small local NGO to the larger UN agencies, the embassies, private sectors have been, engaging with the government and the government institution and supporting this initiative.
Thank you, Doctor. Let us talk the benefit of this initiative beyond environmental protection. How can this initiative contribute to Ethiopia's green economy?
We can, categorize the benefits or the impact of the Green Legacy Initiative into 3 or 4 categories. And the first category I wanted to mention is, the impact or, the influence it made on our societal attitude or societal thinking. Few years back, 10 years back, 20 years back, the survival rate of seedlings in Ethiopia was a very serious challenge. Why it was challenge and why survival is very low, around 50%, is because, it is the attitude of our society, the awareness of our society on the importance of seedling, on the importance of forest, on the importance of growing a seedlings to a tree and then to a forest. So, and also, it is through the Green Legacy Initiative that we increased the awareness of our society, smallholder farmers, pastoral communities, for them, to think and understand that Ethiopia has been degrading very fast and we have been losing our soil in hundreds and also millions of tons annually. So that is a very serious cost to replace that in terms of fertilizer, in terms of productivity, so on and so forth. So that Green Legacy, helped our community to understand and think that the majority of our water points, including the lakes, including the rivers, have been drying out, so that we need to bring them back. So, when you see as one block how the Green Legacy Initiative has contributed to influence societal thinking is very much massive. Economically, you can consider the Green Legacy Initiative as one of the means that has been really contributing directly to the gap or the challenge of many households and individuals. Take off those youths and woman-headed, female-headed households who doesn't have much land to cultivate, who doesn't have much alternative to get income and their food. Count on those more than 100,000 nurseries that the Green Legacy Initiative has brought. If you consider, for instance, 10 employee in each nursery, you can account what does that mean, or how much nurseries only create as a green job for those incomeless or jobless or landless youths and schoolgirls and female-headed households. It has becoming a means of income for those needy households and the needy individuals, who have no much alternative to access other incomes. And that is one thing. And the other thing is, if you look at the Green Legacy Initiative, counts of how many fruits seedlings we have planted over the last 8 years. Categorically, we have been saying that based on the regional report we have been getting, we have been saying that more than 60% of the seedling raised each year are agroforestry seedling. This year alone, we raised more than 600 million fruit seedlings. These are avocados, these are mangoes, these are different economic fruit trees. Imagine of planting successfully 500 millions of these fruit trees, and in 5 years, in 4 years, these seedlings are going to produce massive tons of fruit that are going to be utilized at household level, but also going to be brought to the local and international market. But again, economically, you see that the Green Legacy Initiative is significantly contributing to the improvement of production and the productivity of the land itself. The amount of soil and the water conservation structures our farmers are building across the nation annually have been, collecting those water used to be a runoff, used to be, clean and carry their fertile soil and take them to the dams, the lakes, and the rivers. Now they have been staying on the landscape, on the farm landscape, on the grazing landscape. We did a piece of study on the soil erosion in Ethiopia in connection with the role of the Green Legacy Initiative. And before the Green Legacy Initiative, soil erosion on agricultural landscape used to be 130 ton per year. Imagine, this is very, very massive when you look at it per hectare. 130 ton per hectare per year. That has now reduced to only 54 ton per year per hectare. Very massive reduction. So you can imagine how much topsoil or fertile soil started to stay on the farmland. This is it is an average data which have been considered nationally. Otherwise, there will be variation between regions, between localities, so on and so forth. Ethiopia used to be considered by the global community as a country which is very much affected by drought, very much affected by flood, very much affected by migration. As a developing country, those realities used to be our true reality. But now, as we started to be, not only on the side of, the victimhood of the impact of climate change or desertification, but also now when we started to be, on the solution side or narration that Ethiopia is not only a victim, but also part of the solution. Now, the eyes and the narrations of the global community to our state has been changing very significantly. Now you may Google about Ethiopia, you don't only get those bad names associated to us, but now you also see the global community, the global media mentioning Ethiopia, walking the talk to save or protect the planetary Earth through the Green Legacy Initiative, for instance, through the expansion of hydroelectric, for instance. So the Green Legacy Initiative in particular has been significantly contributing in changing, how the global community look at us, how the global community narrate our development paths, because we submitted very ambitious strategies to the global community, telling them that though we used to emit a very insignificant amount compared to you, but even if this is too small, but still we wanted to work the green path so that we don't follow, your economic path, because we are very much concerned. And we have been also telling them that, look, you have emitted millions of tons of greenhouse gas to the atmosphere. But we in Ethiopia here, by planting more than 50 billion seedlings, these are perennial crops who do, the photosynthesis and remove that already emitted dangerous and poisonous gases, bringing them to the soil, bringing them to the biomass. And we have been telling them that, look, we have been even trying to redress the challenge and the problem that we have, created over the past many decades to get, to improve your economy. This has been getting a recognition from the global community. That is why, few months back, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, awarded the Green Legacy Initiative by mentioning that Ethiopia has been engaging in sustainable forest development. That is a massive recognition that Ethiopia has been getting. So, this will contribute very significantly to our political diplomacy, so that from this angle also the Green Legacy Initiative is significantly contributing. But for me, as I have been always saying, is that the Green Legacy Initiative has been changing, the way we look at our land, the way we look at our surroundings, the way we look at our forests. There used to be enmity between the farmers and the land they live on, between the farmers and the nearby forest. They wanted to convert it to agricultural land. They sometimes even put a fire, because once it is burned, so that now you can send your livestock there, now you can convert it to a farmland there. That has significantly changed. And also, if you look at institutionally, now because of the Green Legacy Initiative, many institutions which used to work their activities in silo now came together. Now imagine about 6, 7 line ministries, serving as a steering committee and Green Legacy Technical Committee, following up the day-to-day planning, implementation, and reporting of this institution.
Dear viewers, I hope you have got some very important information from our discussion. That's all what we have for this edition. See you next time with another program. Till then, bye bye. Take care.